So here's the thing. Over the last few years, my photography has become technically better than it's ever been. Modern cameras are incredible, lenses are fantastic, and the lighting tools have become incredibly precise. And yet, for my own taste, something started to feel like it was missing from my images. They were clean and tack sharp, and they were correct if you're judging based off of a spec sheet. But they felt too clinical, too surgical, a little too perfect. I realized I had slowly shifted from trying to say something with my images to trying to make the technically perfect image. And those two things aren't always the same. My work has always been about people, faces, and stories. About images that feel human and feel lived in. When I'm retouching, it's always, does this feel right? That led me down a road of being more intentional with the tools and the choices I made. That includes the lenses I use, the lighting, the mood, my modifiers, and even my software in post. One of the tools that's helped me reinforce that is Dehancer. Not because it makes digital look like film, but because it lets me introduce texture and imperfection back into very clean digital files. The biggest thing for me when choosing a software is control. This isn't a baked-in LUT where you're locked into one look. You can control all of the variables while still respecting the character of the film stock you've chosen. I also appreciate the variety of film stocks Dehancer provides. I didn't grow up shooting film. I came into photography and video in the early 2010s, right as digital was taking over. So having access to tons of film stocks without the cost and time of development, and then being able to explore them has been very eye-opening for me. Another big plus is that it works for both stills and video. That allows a consistency that matters, especially on client projects where cohesion across platforms is a big deal. Another thing that I love about Dehancer is that once I dial in a look, I can build my own presets, allowing me to create a style and a look that's all my own and repeatable. The goal isn't to copy film. It's to create something that feels familiar, but is still clearly mine. I love the idea that someone can look at an image and think, this reminds me of something I remember, but still recognize it as a Chad Dennis photograph. From an image processing standpoint, highlight control matters a lot to me. I love the way that Dehancer handles tonal range and allows you to dial in your needs for each image you make. I also really like that the grain feels organic. It feels structural, not like an effect or a layer laid on top of an image. That said, it's not perfect. I do wish that there were better explanations for what some of the adjustments actually do. A lot of learning happens by pushing sliders to extremes and then dialing things back until you can figure out exactly how it's changing your image. Ironically, loving having all of the options and all of the control I can also slows things down. With so many options, there's a bit of trial and error before you find what fits your taste. Sometimes when you first select a film stock, it can feel very heavy-handed. There are certainly moments where I think, there's no way that this is going to work. But once you dial it back to 30% or 50%, it suddenly clicks. But you have no idea of knowing if it's going to work or not without spending the time tweaking it in the first place. That process can feel clunky at times, but it also feels unavoidable when you're working with nuance. On the video side, it can bloat file sizes on export, which is something to be aware of depending on what computer system you're using. I use Dehancer a lot for personal work as well. Family photos, travel, landscapes. Anywhere nostalgia and mood matter more than efficiency. For client work, it depends. It's not right for everyone, and that's okay. This isn't a universal solution. It's a stylistic choice. Modern digital photography has gotten incredibly good. Sometimes it feels almost too good. For me, Dehancer is one of the tools that helps me reintroduce the sense of craft and humanity back into digital files. It's not about film, it's about intention. Thank you to Dehancer for sending over a license for their software and for trusting me to make an honest video about their product. They have had no input on the content of this video, and they have not seen this prior to it being posted. If you would like to check it out, there's a discount code in the description. Until the next one.